Savage Joy here with Real Progressives. Tonight this morning, I am joined by Ron Placone. He's back for a second time. You know him as a comedian in the LA area. He's featured on Jimmy Dore quite a bit. He is also, he started his own show as well. So we'll be talking about that. And he is going across the country doing some dates with another comedian as well. So thank you so much for coming back, Ron. I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Laughing. So, why don't you tell us about your new show? Because it's actually been 7 months since I've had you on. So tell us a little bit about I love the premise of it and the way that you're doing it. So give us a little heads up of how that's working out.
Yeah, thank you for that. So my show, which is, it's less than 7 months old. It's a pretty new thing. It's called Get Your News On with Ron. And the way it works is viewers tweet me articles, and that's what we talk about. So I log into a stream, and I don't have anything pre-planned. It's not like I have all these stories pre-planned and I have jokes written ahead of time. I have nothing pre-planned. And in most cases, because I do it at 10 in the morning my time, and I'm not really much of a morning person, 90% of the time, I haven't even seen the news yet today. Like, I haven't seen anything because I'm just waking up, having my coffee, and then I'm live. So that's kind of the premise of it. The premise of it is, you have to do so much legwork to get your news, and you have to do so much sleuthing. Why not do it with a group of like-minded people and you go through the drudgery together? So it's fun, it's interactive, and, I have help with it. I have an editor that splices it up into clips later. And then I have a guy, Pasta, my friend Pasta books the guests for me. And he also monitors the chat for me because it's really hard for me to monitor the chat and, sift through the stuff. So he monitors the chat. Unfortunately, he's away on a family matter, so I've been having to do double duty. So it's made it harder. And whenever I have guests on, because I do guests on, typically my guest will be a candidate running for office. So the way that works is the viewers get to ask them questions. So they're asked about all kinds of issues, everything ranging from healthcare to Israel to, you name it, they ask it. And sometimes I'm not even fully understanding of their question, but I say it anyway, and we try to figure it out. And it's fun. It's a pretty fun show. I do it Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on my YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/Ron Placone. And it's been a fun show so far.
That's awesome. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to do that, but sometimes I have, I try to pay attention to the comments as well. So it's multitasking hardcore because you have to watch and listen to your guest and think about the next question. And sometimes I get some comments that are just like eggplants with a water emoji and, things like that. And I'm like, okay, so I'm trying not to get distracted, but can somebody kick out that guy who's, talking about masturbating to the show? And, so there's always weird things going on. And we don't have assistants or anything. So, you're interviewing someone amazing and you're having weird things in the comments. So it's definitely a challenge. That's amazing that you're doing that. Who's your favorite candidate that you've had so far?
Ooh, that's that's tough. I've had a lot of good ones. As far as the person that I would objectively say has just done the best and was very, very well prepared on all cylinders, I would have to give the gold medal to Allison Hartson, who's running for Senate in California. She's a great progressive candidate, and unfortunately, there are 3 very qualified progressives in that race, and only one of them is going to advance, or maybe none of them, unfortunately. But there's 3. There's Allison Hartson, there's Pat Harris, and there's David Hildebrand. All 3 of them have done my show. All 3 of them did an excellent job. But Allison was just, it's like she did her homework. She knew what she was getting into, and she really just hit a grand slam. She knocked it out of the park. Because it's not the easiest show to do, because I have a zero tolerance for bullshit because I have to, because if I don't, all the viewers are going to hold me accountable. Like, I have to kind of be the microphone. So if I let bullshit slide, they're going to call me for it, as they should. And I'm going to call the candidate. So there have been some candidates that have really crashed and burned because they've tried to. It's like, you can't bullshit on this show. You're not a pre-recorded segment. You're not with Chris Hayes. You know, you are with me and the other people watching this, all of whom are, you know, and I'm not trying to, but the people that watch my show, they're really into news and politics. They're paying a lot of attention because a prerequisite of my show is that you have to send stuff to it. So if you just passively pay attention to the news, my show wouldn't really have any appeal to you. Which in a way, I guess I'm limiting myself, but it's fun. It's cool. And I like it. And, so, you know, there's really a zero, there's not much room for bullshit, because if I let bullshit slide through, I hear about it, and deservedly so. I really do my best. Am I perfect? Of course not. No one is. But I really do my best, and I do my best in real time, and the audience does their best in real time. And we've pushed some people left, or at least we've played a role in pushing some people left, which has been really, really cool. You know, Delane Easton, when she first did the show, that's a candidate for governor. When she first did the show, she was considering supporting Dianne Feinstein. She did our show. We kind of said that's a really bad idea. And since then, she's been touring with Pat Harris, one of the progressives in the race. She really moved a lot on that issue. Is it just because of our show? I'm sure it's not. But I'd like to think that we helped, and I didn't do it alone. You know, I did it with all the people that wake up each morning or tune in the afternoon or make the effort. We have some people that tune in Australia. It's like 4 a.m. there, but they set their alarm, tune in for the hour, then go back to bed. That means the world and then some to me. And it's really just a cool concept and just a cool way to put content out there and a cool way to do the news. And it's really kind of a modern day call-in talk show in so many ways. It's basically taking the premise of that and applying it to new technology. But the difference with us is you really get to influence not just what we, you know, not just the discussion, but the stories too. So, you know.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons they gave me the name Savage Joy, because I don't put up with shit either. Like, I had, do you know who John Fetterman is? He's
not ringing a bell, but
he's in Pennsylvania. Bernie endorsed him, and I had him on the night before PA primaries, and I was like, look, I'm going to call you out on this. We felt betrayed. You started shilling right after July. Burners have a lot of mixed feelings about the way you just totally ditched us and started promoting Hillary and stuff. And I was just like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, I speak for burners. You know, I'm given that chance. We have that opportunity to do that organic, you know, way of questioning, and people look to us to do that. So you're totally right. As far as Allison Hartman, she is one of the people who literally has not returned my messages.
Well, I mean, it's
probably not her. It's probably her people. But yeah, so I tried to get her on a couple of weeks ago, but Delane, I guess, you know, I get some shit for not having her on, but I have a litmus test, and it doesn't sound like you do. But maybe it's a pride thing. I'll probably have to get over it. But my main thing is, if you didn't vote for Bernie in the primary, I don't ask you on. And I think that's because, like, if you had a choice between a warmonger, you know, total garbage, and Bernie, and you chose garbage, I have an issue knowing how progressive you are, because she still does support Hillary. So,
Delane, I'm not familiar with how she voted in the primary, to tell you the truth, but I do have a litmus test. My litmus test, however, doesn't have to do with how you voted. My litmus test is, do you accept corporate money? And the answer has to be no. And do you support single payer? and for real support single payer, not like you're sounding like you're in a confessional booth and you're doing it for political points, a la Kamala Harris. Do you for real support single payer? But I mean, I share that concern, and you know, I'll say this too. We're talking about guests. I'm not going to say the person's name, but there was somebody that straight up lied to me on my show about who they supported. They said they supported Bernie, and then they kind of backtracked and admitted that they voted for Hillary and I was like, okay, so you lied to me, because I brought that up where I'm like, look, you proudly supported, you know, all presidential candidates, including Hillary. Meanwhile, you're trying to wear the progressive tag. There's a little bit of a conflict there. Can you unpack that? And the thing with me, even though, you know, I did not support Hillary, I voted for Jill Stein, but I understand why people felt like they had to hold their nose. I get it. I know friends and even family members that voted for Hillary and cried after. They lived in a swing state. They felt like they had no choice. They did not want to vote for her. They knew the alternative was Trump. I don't think it's on me to shame those people. You know, I don't envy their position. I don't envy anyone's position. What happened in 2016 was disgusting on so many levels. So I can understand if somebody made that decision to support Hillary and they own it and they say, look, I felt like my arm was twisted into submission, and I hate the fact that I was in that position. And part of the reason I'm running for office is so that we're never in that position ever again, because I don't ever want to be. And if you want to voter shame me, well, okay, that's on you. But, you know, I made a decision. Looking back, maybe I made the wrong one, but that was the decision I made, and I never want to be in that position again, and that's part of the reason I'm running for office. If somebody said that, I'd say, okay, that's fair. We can agree to disagree on that one. I chose a different approach. I couldn't bring myself to cast a vote for Hillary Clinton. If I had to do it over tomorrow, I wouldn't vote for her again. I don't regret voting for Jill Stein. I'll debate my decision with anybody. I feel like I made the better choice, especially since I live in a safe state anyway. So, you know, so yeah, I guess that's not really my litmus test for a number of reasons. However, if somebody is given an opportunity to explain themselves and they lie to me, well, then I don't trust you. You know, if it looks like a
after the show, I'm going to ask you who, because I had someone do that to me too.
Really?
And I'm really curious.
And then just real quick, Joy, I wanted to add other people I'm really excited about. And, you know, I know I'm in California. I know not all your viewers are, but the person as a candidate that I'm most excited about is Gail McLaughlin, who's running for lieutenant governor. I love Gail. Gail unofficially asked me to kind of work on a theme song for her because I don't know. Here, I'll do it. So I had Gail on. I'll do this real quick. I had Gail on my show. And Gail went against Chevron in Richmond, Virginia, and she won. You know, we won't get into the full story because like we don't have the time. But
I've had her twice. So I've had her twice.
So your people know. Your people know. But yeah. So just for fun, you know, because I always have my guitar next to me when I'm streaming at my place. Just for fun, I was like, and Gail, don't forget, Gail fought Big Oil and Gail won. Gail fought Big Oil and Gail won. So I did that. You know, I'm a big Clash guy. A lot of people know that about me. And so I did that for fun. Gail got a big kick out of it. It made her laugh. The viewers loved it, blah, blah, blah. And then Gail emailed me, and she's like, well, maybe that could be my theme song. So I did write out an entire thing. Like I wrote out all 3 verses, and I gave it to my patrons so they can kind of screen it and let me know what they think because I wanted some feedback. And I am going to record it properly and send it to her, and hopefully she gets to use it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, no, I like Gail. And of course, that's not why I like Gail. I mean, I was flattered. But, like, Gail's a great progressive, and she has a history of beating the establishment. She knows how to mobilize. She's got a shot. She's well-liked. And she just has the right perspective on so many things. When you see her unpack Green entering, when you see her unpack Bernie and all the above, she just has the right attitude, the right approach. It's progressive, it's effective, And those are the type of leaders you really want to see. And even like Delane, you know, I don't agree with Delane on everything. We have a few differences, but the way she unpacks it, the way she owns her history, the way she has shown a willingness to evolve, that's what I want to see in a leader. You know, you don't need to check every box for me, especially since those are just words anyway. Actions speak louder than words. But if you can prove that you have the type of leadership I want to see, and if you do check those few litmus boxes, that you're not taking corporate money, that you support single payer, well, I'm listening, you know? So.
Absolutely. And I do just want to clarify, I do not even ask people who they voted for in the general. To me, that's a personal choice. I only ask about primary because that's when they had the two choices, the good and the bad. So general.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. I mean, I asked the question because people want to know, but I guess where I'll disagree slightly, I think that if you are running for office, then if you are asked, you should be transparent about that. And if you're not, I think that's a problem. If you're just a citizen and you say, you know what, voting's kind of personal and I really didn't like the choices I was felt, so I'd rather keep that to myself, that's fine. That's your choice as a citizen. But if you're running for office, you should be transparent about that. And if you can't be, that's a problem. You can have an asterisk. You can say, here's how I voted and here's why. That's fine. You have every opportunity to explain yourself. But if you can't be transparent about that and you're running for office, that's an issue to me. So I don't think, I mean, what I'm saying is I don't think you should feel any shame if you ask people who they voted for. I certainly don't. And I don't begrudge any of my viewers on Get Your News On with Ron when they want to know. And I never shy away from the question. And if somebody lies to me, I will call that out as well. Which has only happened once. You know.
Yeah. And as far as Gail goes, I was going to ask you how you felt about her. I've done around 80 candidate interviews now. And there's only a handful that I've personally endorsed. Real Progressives does not endorse as an organization, but I decided to. And Gail, if you look at her page, there's a picture of me and it does say endorsed by Savage Joy of Real Progressives. Yeah, so I had her on twice. Honestly, out of every candidate I've had, she is the only candidate I have heard nothing negative about. No criticism, nothing.
How can you dislike her? I mean, unless you work for Chevron, that's the only way. Yeah. That's the way. If you work for Big Oil, you probably don't like her. In which case, you know what? You're voting for the Republican anyway. Get out of here, or the corporate Democrat, which is a Republican. But yeah, no, she's great, and I endorse her too, like verbally. And she's one of the only. I've only endorsed her. I've endorsed Stephen Jaffe.
That was my next question.
Yeah, I've endorsed Angelica Duenas. She's a Green candidate for Congress. I had her on. And I endorsed Kenneth Mejia, who's another Green candidate. And I think those are the only formal endorsements I've made. There's a lot of other people that I like that have not like definitively said, yes, this is who I'm voting for. But yeah, I want to say those are the only formal endorsements where it's like, yes, I'm endorsing this person or I'm voting for this person. And I think Rubin's another one. I mean, I think Rubin, I will likely vote for him for Secretary of State, or I'm pretty much, yeah, I will be voting for him. And I haven't formally endorsed Delane, but I will likely be supporting Delane. You know, and I know the Green Party candidate is a good one. But I just think Delane has really got it done on the ground, and she just has the better shot.
I think she definitely does have a chance. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Are you in Jaffe's district?
No. He's in San Francisco area. Yeah. I mean, he asked about it, and I said, yeah, you got my endorsement.
He was the first person I endorsed. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's such a no-brainer there. I mean, Pelosi, if Nancy Pelosi had any amount of self-awareness or cared at all, she would have resigned years ago. She doesn't, and that's a shame. But, you know, she also has made herself very rich while in office, so it's very clear where her priorities are. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's the truth, and And so it's a no-brainer there. She needs to go, and I hope Jaffe, I hope he gets it done. We'll see. I mean, he's got a good shot at making the runoff, and then he really needs to establish a game for the general, because he's going up against a big old behemoth. So,
oh, yeah. And that's something that I want to clarify to our viewers, because before I started my show, I didn't know this, but California is different than all other states. What they do is they take the two people with the highest votes, and those are the ones that go to November. So it could be two Greens, it could be an independent and a Democrat, it could be two Republicans. So that's really fascinating, and it could be very advantageous, hopefully in this, because if it was a Democrat, I feel like Jaffe would get fucked. But the fact that there's two spots, to see them go head to head, I'd grab like 6 months of popcorn. It would be phenomenal. And we'd have to work our asses to get him elected then. But I'm so glad that you like Galen Jaffe. That's amazing.
Did you think I'd prefer the alternative?
Well, no, but not necessarily. But, there seems to be this thing in our movement where people say, well, they're the most progressive. Fuck that. You're progressive or you're not. There's like this thing, this like scale. No, it doesn't really work like that. So a lot of people won't endorse, but they'll say, I'm voting for because they're the most progressive. Screw that. I'm not giving my word for anyone unless I would literally vote for them myself. And it seems like you're doing the same, which is awesome. So you regularly go on Jimmy Dore. You guys have, the thing that everybody loves about that show and is you guys bring a sense of comedy to something that we otherwise would be crying in the fetal position about. We need to laugh about these things so desperately. And have you ever had people say to you, why are you making fun of this? It's serious. Why would you, make light of this?
I mean, via the Jimmy Dore show, or just personally, or all the above? A little bit. I mean, every now and again, like one of my tweets, somebody will, take offense to it or whatever. It's not super often, because I think most of the people that migrate to something like the Jimmy Dore show, they need an outlet to laugh about all this stuff. So they're thankful that we're doing it that way. And every now and again, but my response to all that has been, look, I am a comedian. I will always be a comedian. I have no sacred cows. I will make fun of everyone. By the way, small disclaimer, I even make fun of people I like. And, I can think of one particular, for instance, I poked fun at Ralph Nader, and it was in like a fun way. It's like the same way I poke fun at myself. And like what I said was, I said, look, you're only ever going to be so cool when you write a book about seatbelts. Which, is a joke. I make fun of myself the same way. Like, I'm like, look, you're only going to be so cool when you're a big vinyl collecting punk rock nerd who's really into politics. You're only going to be so cool. Like, it's a self-deprecating, like, fun joke. And most people laugh, but some people got really bent out of shape that and I was just honest with them. I'm like, look, I have no sacred cows. I will poke fun at everybody, even people I like sometimes. I can't wait to have Ralph Nader on my show, and you can watch him laugh at that, because that's what he would do. If I said that to Ralph Nader's face, he would laugh, and I look forward to having him on. And when he does, you can just put that in your pipe and smoke it, right? So that's always been my thing. I'm a comedian. I have no sacred cows. If I ever stop being a comedian, I'll stop doing all of this, because that's the lane I belong in. I'm not a cheerleader. There are some cheerleaders out there posing as comedians. I have no interest in being affiliated with them. I've actually gotten kicked off of their shows before. So, I have no sacred cows. If you have a problem with that, watch somebody else. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is what I do. It's not for everybody. No matter what I do, it's never going to be for everybody. So I'm just going to do me. And the people that like it, great. The people that don't, okay. So yeah, I mean, I've gotten that type of feedback before, and I don't ever care. There's only two people on this planet that can hurt my feelings, Joy. My girlfriend and my mom. So the rule of thumb that I give people, I'm like, look, unless I came out of or into your vagina, you can't even hurt me. So it's a very liberating way to live. It really is. But that's just how I am. That's how I've been for a long, long time now. And that's just how I wake up in the morning.
I hear that. Now I'm distracted. I love you and your girlfriend, though. You guys are so cute. I love it. That's what I was gonna say. Sometimes I'm like, should I have Ron on? Because I'm really easy to make fun of. And what if he does his next show and he's like, oh my God, I went on this girl's show and she's just a total fruitcake. But I will embrace it. The funny thing is, it takes so much to embarrass me, like so much. But like 2 weeks ago, I was mortified because I sent you a message and it was like totally irrelevant. And I was just like, oh my God, he thinks I'm the biggest weirdo now. So I'm so glad you decided to come on anyway. You're looking like you have no idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what. I honestly don't. And I remember getting messages from you. But yeah, I don't remember something being totally irrelevant.
I was bitching about a guest Jimmy had, and you're like, I was on vacation. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was out of town when that happened. Yeah, I still haven't really followed up on that. But yeah.
I thought for sure that would be a bit. Because I was like, oh my God, did I really just do that?
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm going to talk about like super inside baseball type stuff just because that's really not my moral compass either. Like I have no desire to, punch left. I mean, not that that would be punching left, but you know what I mean? Like I have no desire to like, here's my bit making fun of other independent content creators. Like I find nothing more boring on the planet than people that opine on those that opine. I find nothing, so I don't do it. I find it incredibly boring. I know there are outlets out there that they just make video after video dissecting the Jimmy Dore show. The only reason I know this is because people email us and tell us. I don't watch these videos because I don't give a shit. To be honest, I'm flattered. I'm really flattered that there are some people out there that need the Jimmy Dore show's content to fit their week's worth of programming. I don't know why they need it. There's enough going on in the world. But if you are that much in your little bubble that you feel like I'm going to opine about this other fellow show, and I feel like that's a good way to spend my content, good for you, but we have better shit to do. When we criticize other content, we're criticizing the corporate media. Same with me on Get Your News On with Ron. I talk about the corporate media because those are the others. Those are the people that are interested in doing the establishment bidding. As far as other independent content creators, I have no desire to get into it. And I know other people have said stuff about the Jimmy Dore show. Some people have said stuff about me. Like we've gotten some rejections from people that we were surprised, and it's because they have an issue with me and what I stand for, or whatever that means. And I just don't dive into it because I don't give a shit. People send us these videos, and I'll be honest, I appreciate the fact because they're coming from a good place, but I don't watch them. I don't care. I find it boring beyond comprehension. When we get smeared by CNN or the Washington Post or something like that, that's interesting. That's interesting because you have to kind of dissect why did they do this. And there's usually a reason. The CNN piece in particular about the Jimmy Dore show, that was a propaganda book, 101 book, an association tactic. Put this show lumped in with a bunch of other shows that are nothing like them, that have no business being lumped in the same category, because people try to make that association. It was a smear. I mean, that's all it was. Just objectively, that's what it was. So that's fascinating. But yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of went off on a tangent here. But yeah, I would never do that. It's just not me.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, for every criticism we get 20 compliments. So it's so much better to just focus on the difference we're making, and the candidates we're educating people on and stuff. It's so much easier to just do it that way. There's enough negativity, so you have the best approach for sure. Something I wrote down that I wanted to bring up that's so funny is that people describe me the same way they describe you, in a way that they say, "Oh, the punk rock burner with the black glasses." That's how we both get described.
Oh yeah, I'll take it.
Like, okay, I dig it.
Yeah, no, I dig it too. I mean, totally. I feel like I recently did a punk rock and politics podcast in San Diego. This guy Mike Coy, the podcast is literally called Punk Rock and Politics. So I guess he cornered it. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a natural marriage. I mean, I pretty much learned a lot of my principles via punk rock. Some bands, I didn't really even understand the message at the time because I was too young to connect with it. I just really liked the music. And I connect with the music even more now because, I just understand the messages. And, Henry Rollins said this recently on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's like, now is the time we're doing what Joe Strummer trained us for. And I think that's very freaking true. Craig Finn said, raise a toast to St. Joe Strummer. I think he might have been our only decent teacher. I wouldn't say only, but I'm totally on board with that principle, and it's a beautiful lyric. So yeah, I mean, I take a lot of my cues from punk rock, and I take a lot of my cues from a lot of the music that shaped me, and even like kind of like the folky protest music. I think they go together like peas and carrots, and I try to incorporate it in my own content when I can. I do some music for fun. I talked to my label recently. There are going to be 2 songs on my album. I talked them into it. So yeah, it's fun.
That is so awesome. We talked about this last time. There are some, we are fortunate. We get to meet so many cool people when we go to these like weekend long events and stuff. And you saw me fangirl hardcore when I met Cornell. But another time I fangirled like crazy was when I met Henry Rollins. I was shaking. I was like, oh my fucking God. So, and then you told me about, tell the audience who one of yours was.
Dick Gregory was a big one of mine. I mean, when I met Dick Gregory, I just kept saying it's an honor over and over again. And then he was like, so are you a comedian? And I was like, yes, and it's an honor. And he's like, all right, I got that. And then he signed my vinyl and we took a picture. And then I really geeked out when I met Amy Goodman for the first time. Because I mean, Democracy Now!, I mean, that was like the first newscast I really got bit by. And this is like in 2004. The show as of recent has not been what it's used to be quite as much, which depresses me some, to be totally honest. I've seen some of their newscasts and I've been a little disappointed. Not overall. I still think they do great work overall, but I've seen some things that I was surprised, and not in a good way. But I mean, she was one of my journalistic heroes for years and years. So when I met her in 2013, I kind of just spazzed out. She asked me what I did, and I think I just straight up forgot, and I didn't know how to answer. I just like smiled instead. I mean, she's a hero, I mean, she's one of those people that she is on the grounds doing it, and I'm very, very humbled by those people. I mean, every time I run into Abby Martin, I'm just very, very humbled being around her, and she's totally a chill metalhead when you meet her. Like, she's really approachable and just really cool. But it's like, you're really doing the work. You are putting yourselves in harm's way. Same with Amy Schlossberg, Vegeta Santos, Eva Bartlett. I mean, there's so many journalists out there that are really putting themselves in harm's way, that are really just being true American heroes. That's why I was so ticked off when there was that dumb, for instance, in the White House press conference briefing room, and they talked about how like I guess like a female journalist was kind of condescended to. I don't remember all the details, which of course that's an issue. I'm not trying to marginalize that. But then, Hillary Clinton took it and used it as a talking point. Like, oh, look at this female journalist that someone was rude to her in the briefing room. And it's like, you know what? It's too bad you're not aware of DAPL. And you're not aware that you want to talk about female journalists really doing the work. Amy Schlossberg is facing prison time for doing her freaking job. For doing her job. Amy Goodman is facing prison time for doing her job. Eva Bartlett and Abby Martin have pretty much given up normalcy in their lives to go to war zones to try to tell you the truth about what's going on in different places. It's too bad you're not privy to any of them. And you think the only issue female journalists are dealing with is someone's rude to them in a press briefing. And that's your idea of a hero. It's too bad your wall of privilege is that thick, because there's a lot of journalists that are true American heroes, and an awful lot of them happen to be female too. It's too bad you're not aware of any of that, because it'd be cool if you used your platform to shine a light on those people, but we shouldn't expect that.
Right on. And, speaking of females, so how about how Miss Vagina endorsed Cuomo? What do you think about that?
Are you referring to Tom Perez when you say Miss Vagina? Who are you referring to?
Well, him as well, yes.
No, it's Hillary.
Hillary probably share a vagina.
You know what? We got a bunch of Cuomo bros now. The Cuomo bros are out in full force, and I really want to see that hashtag go viral. I refuse to support Hillary Clinton, and I've never been called sexist in my life until 2016. And and it wasn't. All it was I did not support Hillary Clinton's policies. That was it. The funny thing is that a lot of the people that called me sexist, what did we have in common in 2016? We both voted for a woman. The woman I voted for was tied to a chair for 8 hours because she felt like she should have been in a debate that she was excluded from. The woman I voted for actually stands for principles that I agree with. The woman I voted for, people hate her because she felt like she was allowed to participate in democracy. It's so funny that the people that love to scream Russia is hijacking our democracy are the same people that hate people to their left for participating in it. That is a level of irony that no matter how thick your pink hat is, I don't understand how you can't comprehend. But people can't for whatever reason. So the best thing I ever got was one time, I used to be a regular on a show where I was by far the most left-leaning contributor, and it was very much in the tank for Hillary. I eventually got booted from said show. But one time somebody said that because I didn't support Hillary, I was sexist, and then they blamed my mom for it. Which, and hey, you know what? I guess there's a little bit of OG Italian in me because I did go after that person because, you don't insult my mom. But, I kind of was just like, do you see the irony that you are calling me sexist and you blame my mom for it? Don't you see the irony there? How is that not? You blame my mom. That's kind of sexist in and of itself, you dope. But anyway, we actually resolved it. The person actually apologized. But that was like the most ironic criticism I got. And now, of course, you see the establishment, the Democratic establishment, Hill-Boss, whatever you want to call it, the corporate Democrats. I like to call them conservatives in denial. But whatever you want to call that group, identity politics is all they have, because when it comes to policy, they have nothing to stand on. I have asked so many people, even people who I respect, I respect them 99% of the time. This is 1% where we don't see things eye to eye. Even people I respect, I'm like, name one policy Hillary had that you like better than Bernie. I have yet to get an answer. I have people that I respect that we just disagree on this one thing. I've yet to get an answer from them. And it's because they don't have one. So all they can do is call you a sexist or call you this or call you that. That's all they can do. And now, here you go. They are so blatant in their hypocrisy, they're supporting Andrew Cuomo over Cynthia Nixon because he's the establishment-friendly candidate. Well, guess what? You're a Cuomo bro. And you know what? You're a true Cuomo bro, because if you ask a Bernie person, why won't you support Hillary Clinton? They would have an answer for you, and that answer would have nothing to do with her gender. You ask a Cuomo bro why they're not supporting Cynthia Nixon, they don't have an answer for you. Just like they couldn't tell you what one policy position of Hillary they supported. They don't have an answer for you. So these are a bunch of Cuomo bros. These are a bunch of Cuomo bros, a bunch of establishment Cuomo bros.
Hell, even as a girl, I've been called sexist so many times I can't count. Like, you know, the thing that always amazes me, I can't, you know, say shit about Hillary without being sexist. I can't say anything about Obama without being racist. Well, I guess that means when you talk about Bernie, are you anti-Semitic? Like,
I've said that too. I'm like, why aren't we saying, like, why isn't, like, how are these people not anti-Semitic? How are these, you know?
Or, you know, anything like that. It's hypocrisy. And, you know, when people call me a sexist I wrote Bernie in, and, you know, that was sacrilege because I chose Bernie over a woman. But Bernie actually went to the women's marches, and Bernie's not married to someone who was accused of raping and sexually assaulting 15 women. So that kind of makes him more of a feminist in my view. So it's crazy that, you know, I wrote an article for Real Progressives back in January because in the women's march, these women were wearing pink pussy hats while wearing Hillary buttons. You're saying always believe a woman, yet you are supporting a woman who has shamed and bullied women who have accused her husband. There's issues with that. So the whole sexist thing is such an opportunist bullshit thing with so many Hillary supporters. And now they're faced with the thing. Do I support Cuomo because, you know, the queen endorsed him, or do I vote for Cynthia because I've been saying vagina, vagina, vagina for 2 years? What do I do? You know, so they're kind of faced with that. So it'll be interesting. Also, you know,
well, and I'll just say this, you know, I don't think everybody that has a nasty woman t-shirt or that has a hat is coming from that place of corruption. I think there's a lot of people, they have, you know, what's that kind of cliche? Their heart is in the right place, their head is not. You know, and I hope a lot of those people kind of come around and see that, yeah, this is ridiculous. Why would you support Andrew Cuomo over Cynthia Nixon? What, you know what? This isn't about. And are there some people out there that are just straight up sexist, and that's why they didn't migrate to Hillary Clinton? Sure, there are. Absolutely, there are. But to overgeneralize and to make it out like those are the only criticisms about her, and that's why anybody who didn't support her, that's why. Well, that's absolutely ridiculous, and it's not fair. And I think there's a lot of people in that movement that their hearts are really in the right place. They want to do the right thing. They have the right principles. And, you know, we need to just kind of show these people why we're the right team, you know? And that's why sometimes one of the criticisms I get when we point out the corruption of the Democratic establishment, sometimes because, you know, the audience of Get Your News On with Ron is a lot smaller than the audience of the Jimmy Dore Show. You know, sometimes I'm kind of like, yeah, Ron, we know, we get it, we know. And I'm like, yeah, I know that you guys know. But the thing is whether you know it or not, there's not a lot of us yet. There's still not a lot of us. So I hope that maybe 5 people, say, or hopefully more than that, but let's just say 5 people might see this video where they didn't know that, and now they freaking do. You know what I mean? Like now they freaking know that. Now, you know, maybe they didn't get it throughout the primary. Maybe they didn't get it throughout the general. Maybe they didn't get it through looking at Hillary's track record. Maybe they didn't get it through looking at the way Jill Stein was marginalized, and unjustifiably so. But maybe they got it when Tom Perez endorsed Andrew Cuomo after promising the DNC was going to stay neutral. Maybe they got it now. And I think for a lot of people, every time there's an event, more people are going to get it. And it's up to people like us. It's up to people like your show and Real Progressives and my show and the Jimmy Dore Show and Uphill Media and Lee Camp and Abby Martin. The list goes on. And Tim Black, Humanist Report. It's up to people like that to keep shining a light on that stuff because no one else is doing it. It's up to, we can't think, oh, the choir already knows this. Yeah, the choir does, but other people don't. And if you don't amplify it, no one else is going to. The corporate media sure as hell isn't. They're not going to. They don't want to. So, I mean, it's up to us. Like, no one else is going to do that. Even other people in independent media aren't going to do that. It's up to the independent progressive media to do that. So, yeah, I focus on the corruption of the Democratic Party because it's been shown to me that, yeah, we have one party and it's the money party. And I'm done being an apologist. I can't do it anymore. My entire political life, I've always thought, man, I'm pretty progressive. The Democratic Party is far from perfect, but they're the clearer glass than the Republicans, right? So, you know, even though Kucinich was my guy in 2008, when Kucinich didn't win, I got behind Obama. Of course, I voted for Obama twice. Looking at the alternative, of course, Obama was the better choice. But man, Obama really thumbed his nose at progressives big time. Obama was a moderate Republican. He ran on a center-left platform, delivered a center-right one. Oh, and by the way, who is it that called Obama a moderate Republican? Barack Obama. Go find that video. Barack Obama said it. So he's a sweeter talking Reagan. If that reflected our country, if our country was right-wing and center right-wing people, well, then I would just be like, man, I really got to try to, try to really get my point of view out there and try to grow the army or whatever you want to call it. But you know what Bernie Sanders proved to you and me and all of us? There's more of us than we realize. There's a lot more of us than we realize. So why don't we have a political landscape that reflects the interests of the citizens? Because we don't have a real democracy. We have a plutocracy. Our system has been hijacked. We have one party. It is the money party. And people are thirsty for real change and for a real message. That's why over in Pennsylvania, where you live, in the state that I was born in, that's why DSA candidates are picking off these Democratic establishment folks. That's why DSA endorsed candidates. I should specify DSA as an actual party, but DSA endorsed candidates are picking off these Democratic establishment folks. That's why you have people Dem entering, you have people Dem exiting, you have people trying to start a new party. If you're a progressive, I'll get behind you regardless of your approach. I support policy ideas, not party, but yeah, like there's more of us than we realize, but there still aren't enough of us. So we really need to amplify this corruption when we see it, because for some people, this is the event the light bulb's gonna go off and they're gonna be like, oh shit. That doesn't mean they're any smarter or dumber than anyone else. It just means maybe they're paying more attention to something else. Maybe they know more about MMT than the average person. Maybe they know more about history than the average person. Maybe their lane is somewhere else. But you got to make them see, look, when it comes to policy, here is why we're getting screwed. Here is why we couldn't get behind Hillary Clinton. Here is why we can't get behind candidates that take corporate money. It's not a purity test. It's not, that is the most bogus thing I've ever, it's a purity test. When else would you say that? If you were at a restaurant and someone served you a cup of coffee with shit in it, would you be like, hey, this cup of coffee has shit in it? And the server goes, oh, well, somebody at the bar doesn't like you and they gave me $30. And what can I say? I'm flawed. Would you be like, oh, well, I'll still give you a good Yelp review? And then when your friend says, hey, you shouldn't drink that, there's shit in it, you go, shut up, purist, and drink the coffee. Would you do that? No sane person would. The only, for instance, where we do that is frickin' politics. And it's backwards, and it's got to stop.
Yeah, no doubt. Especially being a burner. I hear that all the time. It's like, dude, if you follow me, I criticize Bernie. In no way is he perfect. He is human. There are so many things that I want to shake him. He's still my hero, too. But I criticize him. But every time you say anything about Bernie and supporting him, it's like, oh, you're worshiping, you're a Bernie worshiper, he's your deity. It's like, stop saying that. You're deflecting. That's not the point.
Absolutely.
Just kind of assumes we look at him like this, that he is the most pure.
Yeah. The thing with Bernie, and Bernie's made some decisions I haven't liked. There's a lot of things about him I'm critical of. There's other things about him that I do like. But the thing about Bernie, whether we like it or not, we need somebody on the inside peeling off the onion and exposing that layer of corruption for the reasons I just said previously. For the reasons of there still aren't enough of us. We need more of us. And a lot of people, they're on our team and they just don't realize it yet. So we need somebody being like, hey, $15 an hour, here's the bill. Single payer healthcare, here's the bill. And it's going to peel off the layer of corruption because you're going to see these people stab it in the back. Whether people want to accept that or not, we need somebody on the inside doing that. Bernie's the guy doing it. Whether that was intentional by design or not on his part, I don't know for sure because I'm not a mind reader. I'd like to think it is. You know, I mean, he's been doing the work for 40 years. He understands the game pretty freaking well. So I'd like to think it is intentional. But whether or not it is, it doesn't really matter because we need somebody doing that. And Bernie's just the guy. Maybe Bernie doesn't even want to be that freaking guy, but he understands he is. I don't know. But he's that guy. And also, are we wrapping soon? Because my battery is at 10% and I'm wired in,
yes.
so I can't plug in.
Let me see what else I wanted to say. Oh, you do have shows coming up.
I do.
Plug that.
Thank you. I would love to plug that. So, and I'll plug something else that I haven't even announced yet. But given your location, I feel like I'll announce it first here. Graham Elwood and I, the political vigilante, great comedian. You should totally have him on. And I'll loop you guys in. But Graham and I are doing the Progressive Comedy Tour. We're coming to the Southeast. That's our next leg. Our first leg was in the Southwest, and it was great. Our next leg coming up, it's June 20th through 24th. You can get tickets at my website, ronplacone.com, or his website, grahamelwood.com. We're coming to Nashville, Huntsville, Louisville, Asheville, North Carolina, and Atlanta, Georgia. It's a nice 5-day run in the Southeast. You can get all your tickets at ronplacone.com. We have stand-up. And then, of course, we have different groups are there. DSA members have come out. They've tabled after. Different candidates have shown up to events. They're going to be at the next upcoming events. So it's a really cool place, not just to hear a fun night of comedy, but to mingle with like-minded people in your community. Since we've been doing on the first leg at the shows, certain candidates have gotten new volunteers and certain groups have gotten new members. So it's really freaking cool. Please come out June 20th through 24th, ronplacone.com for tickets. Asheville, Nashville, Huntsville, Louisville, Atlanta. Those are the cities we're coming to. And special announcement, Joy, because I know you're in Pennsylvania. I will be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, my hometown, on November 23rd, Black Friday. That'll be at Hambones in Lawrenceville. Tickets aren't available quite yet, but they're going to be available very soon. You can go to my website, ronplacone.com, for that. But I will be in Pittsburgh on Black Friday for anybody in the Western Pennsylvania area. And, you know, I haven't formally announced this yet either. But those two DSA candidates, Anna Murado, or however you say her name, and Summer Lee, I'm going to tweet at them. And if they want to come to the show, they can come for free. Because I love the fact that
I've had them on my show. Yeah, totally.
I haven't had them yet. I really want to have them on. I love the fact that they picked off the Costas. For anyone not in the know, the Costa family, they are the Clintons of Western Pennsylvania. And in my humble opinion, they're even more annoying. Dom Costa, when he knew he was going to lose, first of all, the Costas, they were parroting this whole party unity thing, crapping on the DSA, saying Dems need to stick together and unite, establishment, blah, blah, blah. What did Dom Costa do when he knew he was going to lose? The guy that had been preaching about party unity, he tried to run as a Republican. What a snake in the grass. I'm so glad those Costas got picked off. All the Costas need to get picked off. They are an establishment family. They are a Clinton-esque dynasty. They are bad for the region. They've been bad for the region for years. They need to be out of politics. I'm so glad 2 of them lost. The rest of them need to lose too. So I was thrilled about that. And yeah, anyway, I guess I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, November 23rd, at Hambones in Lawrenceville, one of my favorite venues in town. So tickets for that will be available really, really soon. And I'd love to see some of you fellow Pennsylvanians.
Yes, I'm going to hit up all my friends in Pittsburgh, including the candidates. That's awesome.
Please do.
To swing by Harrisburg too, though.
I'll try. I love the Harrisburg Improv Theater, and I was there a couple years ago. Back before I wasn't on the Jimmy Dore show, so nobody knew who the hell I was. But but I was there, and yeah, I love that place, and I'd love to go back. I don't know if I'll be able to squeeze it in because I only go to Pittsburgh once a year to visit my family, and it's always during the Thanksgiving holiday. But it is, if I do anywhere else, it will be Harrisburg at the Improv Theater. Because I love that town, and my cousin lives in Harrisburg. So I don't know.
Hang out with me again. Hello.
I know. Well, hey, you could always make the Black Friday trek to Pittsburgh. You can always do that.
I'm going to talk to my husband. I'm not playing. We could go back to the Andy Warhol Museum. And
yes. You make a day trip out of it. Well, I'm giving you plenty of advance notice.
Awesome. Well, I cannot thank you enough, Ron. I freaking adore you. You know I do. You're just inspirational, and you're hilarious, and you help us get through some hardcore shit we're going through right now. So there's a reason why people follow you. You're amazing, and I adore you.
All right, I'm like blushing hardcore. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. And I love your show's a blast. I love doing it. Real progressives. You guys have an amazing thing going on, and I've watched it. You guys have been blowing up this year. I mean, you guys have really, just within the past 7 months when we first met, Real Progressives has been blowing up. It's amazing to see. If there's any way I can help, let me know. And it's super awesome to see. It's a great thing. We need more of it. Progressive media is on the rise. It's great. It's important. And thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. And you know what? I have my 100th show coming up, and like, okay, so my dream would be like you and Lee, or you, Lee and Jimmy, or anything like that. Like just something fun. That would be amazing. So keep
I'm down. I mean, like Lee. I mean, just email him. He's pretty responsive about that stuff, and he's a really fun guest. Lee's great. His special was a couple weeks ago in Los Angeles. We all had a great time. I mean, I'd be down, and I'm sure Jimmy, if his schedule permits, he totally would be too. He's a busy guy right now, and he's also recovering from surgery, so he's been a bit not necessarily out of the loop. He's still keeping very busy considering, but he's been a bit limited while he recovers, and right now he's actually out of the country. But I mean, I'm in. I can speak for one of the three you mentioned. I'm in. So thanks so much.
I have you once a week. I don't, You're amazing. Thank you so much, Ron. Best of luck with the tour and everything. Thank you guys for watching. I'm doing 2 shows a day. Tonight I am back with Jovanka Beckles. She is running in California. She is a huge civil rights warrior. She is also just blowing up. Nina Turner endorsed her. She's amazing. I just got word from Ro Khanna. He's coming back next week. So I have a lot of good guests coming up. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I'll see you back at 9 tonight Eastern. And again, thank you so much, Ron.
Thanks for having me. Much love.
You're amazing.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Anytime.